Hello and welcome back to Happy Classrooms. I'm glad you found your way back here. I'm looking in this video at one of the big building blocks for me towards Happy Classrooms, and that is seeing my classroom from the point of view of a pupil. Now that doesn't sound like a big shift in perspective, but it was for me. It took me a long time. It took me 13-14 years. It hinged around one set of events, set of ideas that I came across through my support for learning training, but then an experience that was organised by the course. I was asked to write a dissertation around a pupil, follow them around the school and interview their teachers, and someone who was experiencing special educational needs and obstacles to the curriculum. So I chose a young lad in liaison with the support for learning department who was severely dyslexic. I'd also met him and he'd chatted very easily to me, so I knew that would work well. Talking to him, he had most of the subjects he liked. Some of them he really enjoyed, two of them he really didn't like, and looking at his reports from there, that also followed his results. The two subjects he didn't like, he wasn't doing well in, and this was just after the first reporting phase, I think, for third year. When talking to him, he was not clear. He couldn't tell me why he didn't like these subjects. So I started talking to his teachers, with the first ones happening to be the ones that he liked and enjoyed. Started with his favourite teacher, and his teacher said, a favourite pupil in the school, really hard working. I mean, he's got challenges and difficulties, but he's really working hard. And that was lovely to hear, and then carried on, and then in the end I hit one of the teachers that he didn't like, and it was the exact opposite story. And it was like, this pupil is terrible, he's the worst pupil in the school, his behaviour's shocking. And I was like, are we talking about the same person here? And checked in, yes we were, and I couldn't figure it out. And I talked to the teacher a wee bit about what was going on and how the subject went and how he saw the pupil. Couldn't get to the bottom of it. Went back to the boy and talked more in depth about what the classroom was like, and eventually discovered that the teacher wasn't talking to the class, but was basically presenting them with the subject in written form, and wasn't teaching them. And then I saw, as I explored this one avenue, that this element as to how much was being taught verbally had a direct impact on how well he behaved, also how well he did, and also how he saw and valued the teacher. So it seems very obvious. I know that, and obviously he's going to enjoy things, especially if he's dyslexic and can't engage through the written word. But I think for me it was very big, because he didn't understand it himself. The teachers that I talked to didn't understand why it was that he liked or disliked them or their subject. It seemed very personal. Both the teacher's opinion of him and his opinions of them seemed very personal, and yet it was functional, hinging around how much of the curriculum was delivered verbally. So from that moment, I committed myself to delivering the curriculum verbally as much as possible, and that helped an awful lot. At the same time, I was reading about dyslexia and realised that the definition of dyslexia, well, there was 19 official definitions at that point. One of the popular distinctions of definitions of dyslexia was that it was a difference in a person's ability to engage with language depending on whether it was written or spoken. But it could be flipped on its head from what we normally come across. So it could also be someone who couldn't engage with verbal communication, but could engage much better with written. And that made me think as well. It really made me consider and ponder. I had a pupil a few years later who was, I've only come across one like it, but it was first year, so we were reading a novel as part of the first 20 minutes of the lesson, and she said she couldn't follow it if she was in the classroom listening to my words. She could read it, but needed to sit outside the classroom. And so she did that for the whole novel and did very well and clearly understood it, but couldn't listen to me, but could read. So from that point, I moved towards delivering the curriculum in multiple ways. And this was the start of that process. Both verbally and written, having those things in place, having written notes available, all that kind of thing. But the move was towards the pupil's point of view and away from mine, away from the curriculum, away from my classroom management, and towards their perspective. And I felt that in making that change and doing the things I did from early on in the year, there was a lot less classroom management that I needed to do, an awful lot less control that I needed, because people were happier. So I'm going to talk next about the non-academic pupil. We're going to leave it there, just with that one change of perspective as a huge building block for me. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next video.